Alright guys, Evolve Russell here, and today I am here a little bit later with my Elimination Chamber 2025 review. Now, I should start us off by saying I did not plan on reviewing the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. John Cena shirt by the way, today. I did not plan on reviewing this show. I actually didn't even plan on watching it in the end. But what happened was last night I was awake playing The Last of Us quite late, and I just thought I would throw the Elimination Chamber on. And I put it on, and I sat there and I was watching the end of the Elimination Chamber match and the rest of the show that followed after that. And I decided after that, I'm just going to watch the show and review it for the channel because this feels like something I should talk about. So here it is, my Elimination Chamber 2025 review, completely unplanned. It'll be nice to at least talk about this, and there's a load of things to talk about. So, Elimination Chamber 2025, first pay-per-view since Royal Rumble, and it takes place in Toronto, Canada. And we open the show with the, I do have all my notes here, the ladies' Elimination Chamber match for a shot at Rhea Ripley's World Championship. In the match, we've got Liv Morgan, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Roxanne Perez, Bayley, and Alexa Bliss. So, this match started with the return of Jade Cargill. So, Bianca, Bayley, Roxanne, and Alexa were all in the pods, and the first two in the ring were Liv and Naomi. And the bell rang, and before they could shut the door, basically, Jade Cargill's music hits. And obviously we've had all of the who attacked Jade, who took her out before War Games, and we were going to get that resolution here, it seemed. So Jade came down to the ring, got in the chamber, looked at Liv, went to throw a punch at her, and then went for Naomi, destroyed Naomi in the corner, threw her into the cage, threw her into the pods, booted her through a pod, and then Naomi tried to crawl away, and Jade kept slamming the chamber, sorry. It's an elimination chamber, not a cage. She kept slamming the chamber door into Naomi's midsection. This was a brilliant beatdown. Jade got cheered for all of this, so I do hope this isn't a heel turn. It shouldn't be a heel turn. She was attacked. She got cheered for all of this. And I don't know how we just keep Naomi as the culprit. There has to be another culprit. It's probably Bianca. Bianca, by the way, while all of this vicious assault is going on Naomi, is just in her pod screaming, babbling, Jade, no, what are you doing? And it's great. And it was so well presented. Jade looked, her new outfit, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, looked like a Mortal Kombat character. This was an excellent angle, and it was an excellent way to start the chamber off. Liv is in there just, cowering in fear when Jade gets in, but then starts laughing when Jade goes for Naomi, and she goes over to Bianca and is mocking her that her friend has just been destroyed by her other friend. And so that got us into the actual match. Jade and Naomi are taken away. Naomi's put on a stretcher. I don't understand how we're going to make a heel out of somebody, even though Jade just killed. Jade can't be the heel here. She was cheered like crazy, and she got the comeuppance on me. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, Bianca's pod opened first, and she took like a minute just to oh my goodness. I'm losing the train of thought. To recuperate. And after that, they did some spots. She went for the moonsault and missed it. A little while later, she hit it on Liv. Liv's doing all the natural takedown stuff. And they didn't really touch the outside or the metal or the chamber until the third lady came in, which was Roxanne Perez. And then they started doing some stuff into the pods, just chucking each other into it and stuff like that. Fourth in was Bayley. Then they had like exchanges where there was a Bayley and Bianca Belair exchange. And then they had an exchange which was Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez attacked Bayley as soon as Bayley's pod opened, and Bayley essentially brought Roxanne into her pod and started slamming her against the Lexan glass. And the last pod finally would open, and that was, of course, Alexa Bliss's. And when all 5 women were in there, it was great. Alexa was probably the weakest. Like, when she was in there, some of her drop kicks and stuff looked a bit rough. Only a little bit. The other women have obviously been wrestling all year round. So, she hasn't. She's had 3 matches in 3 years. So, but she was fine. And the best spot of the match was Bianca and Liv are on top of one of the chamber pods, and they're hanging on the steel grating, I guess. And Bianca whips her with her braid, and it made the best sound. And Liv is like holding on, and she's moving her legs, and then she falls. And then Bianca does a crossbody to all of the girls from on top of the pod. This was a really good chamber match. So the first elimination was Bayley. Bayley got eliminated by Liv Morgan just with an oblivion. Bayley essentially let her fixation on Roxanne Perez get her, basically, and she eventually dumped Roxanne out of the back suplex. Liv caught her with an oblivion and pinned her. Next to be eliminated was Roxanne Perez. Oh my goodness. She went for this was probably one of the best exchanges of the whole match. She went for a pop rocks on, Liv went for an oblivion on Roxanne. Roxanne countered, went for a pop rocks on Bianca Belair. Bianca threw her off into a Sister Abigail DDT. Sister Abigail DDT onto Roxanne. Bliss came off the top with a twisted Bliss. 1, 2, 3. Roxanne was eliminated. We were down to 3 now. Obviously, Naomi was eliminated earlier, which I should say. Like, they did actually eliminate Naomi and say she is eliminated because she cannot compete. So we were down to 3. Bliss, Bianca, and Liv. Liv in this matchup, and Dave Meltzer said this on the Wrestling Observer as well, she was like the workhorse. She was so good. Her timing, her mannerisms. I know that she's been world champion for like most of last year, and she's had some great matches with Rhea and Io. But this was like a real standout moment in her career for me. Especially me, as someone who's quite cynical sometimes. I thought she was grand in this match. Just everything she did looked crisp. Oh, no, actually, I got it wrong. She hit a code breaker onto Roxanne, then the Twisted Bliss. That's what eliminated Roxanne. Liv also went for a couple of other code breakers as well in the matchup. Bianca hit a 450 splash at one point. I can't remember who that was on. So we got down to the final 3, and Alexa hit a Sister Abigail DDT onto Bianca, but Liv very quickly rolled through, jackknife covered her, and then held Bianca's hair for leverage while Bianca's dead on the floor. So that eliminated Alexa. So we were down to Liv Morgan and Bianca. Liv pulled Bianca over. She went for the pin. Bianca kicked out. She went for an oblivion onto Bianca. Bianca caught her while she's in the ropes, lifted her up, hit the KOD, the kiss of death. 1, 2, 3. Bianca Belair won the Women's Elimination Chamber. The second time she has won the Chamber. And Bianca Belair is going to WrestleMania to face Rhea Ripley or Io Sky. And after the matchup, she kind of shook off the cobwebs of Naomi's attack. She got to the top of the ramp, and Rhea and Io both came up and confronted her. This was a great Elimination Chamber. It was probably the best women's one they've done. I thought when it was... I haven't mentioned a million spots or a million glass breaks or anything like that, but when it was the 5 women, Bliss, Bayley, Bianca, Liv, and Roxanne, when they were all in there, it looked really good. And the women's roster looked stacked at that point. And what I would like is I would like some women to challenge for... Some of these women, probably, to challenge for the mid-card titles, the women's IC title and the women's US title, because they have both been pretty useless since they were debuted. Regardless, though, I'm going to give this match 4.25 stars. Great match, great way to open Elimination Chamber. Second on the show, we had Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus against Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. So I assumed putting Tiffany with Trish was basically their big plan to get her cheered. She was cheered here, although this Tiffany Stratton sort of babyface experiment thing hasn't been super successful with me. Like, she's a natural heel. She's got every sort of Barbie doll appeal thing to be a heel, and they made her a babyface. It's fine because people pop for Money in the Bank cash-ins, and that's essentially what turned a babyface. And I'm sure against Charlotte, she will be a babyface because they will not want to see Charlotte win another woman's title. This match though, this was a. I'm kind of focusing on the other stuff. Like Trish returned again. It was a 25th anniversary of her first year in the company, and Nia and Candice are just sort of there, which is kind of a shame. Candice is great. Nia's improved, as I've said a couple of times. This was like an okay match. You know, they worked over Trish. No, they worked over Tiffany so that Trish could get the hot tag, which was weird because she's the champion. So didn't really give me not a great idea. And then they eventually would work over Trish so Tiffany could get the hot tag. There was a couple of good spots, like they did a double power slam on Nia. They did a couple of cool bits. The finish was cool. We'll talk about the finish in a minute. But moves wise, there wasn't really a lot of great stuff. In the end, Trish hit like everything. The stratosphere. You know, Tiffany did a big spine buster and then a big power slam to Candice LeRae. She did a big spine buster to Nia Jax, I should say. The finish came when Trish did a top rope stratisfaction to Nia. She went for the pin. Candice came in and moonsaulted Trish, but Trish moved out of the way, so Candice moonsaulted Nia. Tiffany tagged in, threw Candice out the ring, hit the prettiest moonsault ever on Nia Jax and pinned her 1, 2, 3. So that is this feud done. She is over with Nia Jax. She has pinned her. I was actually slightly convinced that they would have Tiffany pin Candice just because they're going to do a singles match with Nia at some point. But the fact they did this here makes me think that Nia's done. I'm going to give it 2 3/4 stars. It was like decent is probably fair. It was a little bit rough at points. Tiffany has looked better than this. And Trish's ring rust is starting to show, but it was okay. Well, it was more than okay. I said it was decent. So yeah, 2 3/4 stars, decent match. After that, crikey, my notes. After that, we had a video package on the career of The Rock. So this was to build up to Cody's Sell Your Soul segment later on in the show. And it basically showed The Rock's history, both as a wrestler, both as an entertainer, as an actor, basically the person he is, the social media icon. And it was going to show this is what Cody could be, I think. I think that's what it was. And then we moved into the unsanctioned match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So, I'm a little bit angry that this is on this show and not on WrestleMania, because this WrestleMania could have had this match. But now I've seen this match, it was in Toronto, they actually got 27 minutes. And I've seen the match, and they would not have been given this match at Mania. They've already wrestled each other at Mania as well. They had a 9-minute match at WrestleMania 37. This match would not have been at Mania this year. They would just not have found the time for it. So I'm fine with this match being here, because it was a great match. And obviously it's a great match. It's Kevin and Sami, and it was like brutal, but not necessarily violent. So there was no blood, which I'm okay with. I've seen a couple of people being a bit annoyed that there was no blood. It's Elimination Chamber. Sometimes you can't do it. We'll talk about that, I guess, though. I guess I've shot myself in the foot. So there was no blood, but it was a brutal match. They started out with just natural chair shots. And then Sami got out a hockey stick and they started using that. And Kevin choked Sami round the ring post with a hockey stick. They went into some crowd and did some crowd brawling with some trash cans. And Sami then gave Owens 2 back suplexes through tables in the crowd. They went back to the ringside area. And Sami went to the top rope to hit a brainbuster on Kevin. Kevin slipped out and pushed Sami through 2 tables that had been stacked in the corner of the ringside area, and this is where Kevin just started to beat Sami up. So he hit him with a stunner, he kicked out. He gave him a fisherman's neck breaker through a table, he kicked out. He was hitting him with chairs and stuff. He gave him a brainbuster onto an open chair. He kicked out. Sami got a little bit of a fight back at this point. He hit a half and half suplex and then a half and half suplex into a chair. He hit a desperation haluva kick at one point for a 2 count. And then he got out. He went under the ring, got out a load of chairs, and then he found a barbed wire chair. He hit Kevin in the back with it a couple of times. He drop toe holded Kevin into it. And then he blew thunderbombed Kevin onto 2 chairs sat up, and then the barbed wire chair on the top. He blew thunderbombed Kevin onto that. Kevin Owens kicked out. He went for a second haluva kick of the match. Kevin Owens hit the pop-up powerbomb, basically just for a breather. Sami Zayn rolled outside the ring. Kevin Owens beat the ever-loving shit out of him outside of the ring. He powerbombed him into the apron. The referees were telling him to stop. He powerbombed him again, but didn't quite catch it. So Sami thought out of it, and Kevin eventually kicked him in the gut and gave him a proper powerbomb on the apron. Rolled him in the ring, and at this point, all the officials are out there. There's Jason Jordan, Shane Helms, PD Williams are all out there telling Kevin to stop. But after that second powerbomb on the apron, he rolls Sami in the ring. He pins him 1, 2, 3, and he wins this unsanctioned match. I think they've had some great matches in WWE. I don't think this is their best one. I heard Meltzer say on... Sorry, Dave Meltzer. Use his full name. I heard Dave Meltzer say on The Observer that this was one of the best matches in the last few years of WWE. I thought this was great, but I actually didn't think this was super incredible great. So I'm going to give it 4.25 stars. It was still great. I really liked it. I just needed a little bit more. I don't know what I needed. Thumbtacks, I don't know what I needed, but ladders. These guys made their career in Ring of Honor on those ladder war things. It was weird that they didn't use any ladders. I needed something. After the matchup, Owens rips up the mats at ringside. He's going to give Sami a package pile driver onto those ring mats, but Randy Orton's music hits, so Kevin gets in the ring. Orton comes down the ramp, gets a massive pop. They fight for a little bit. Orton hits an RKO, goes for the punt, and Kevin Owens rolls out. So Orton just RKOs all of the security guys that are trying to calm him down. Good return for Orton. That means we're getting Owens and Orton at Mania, which I'm fine with. This match here was absolutely grand. This match here was grand. But Orton and Owens at Mania at this moment in time is a bigger match because Orton is the person he injured to start this new Kevin Owens character. So I'm absolutely fine with that. And I'm fine with Orton getting a big win at Mania and maybe writing Owens off TV for a little bit if he punts him or something like that. I do not want boring, methodical Randy Orton though. I want decent worker Randy Orton that we've had this last couple of years. Match, as said, 4.25 stars, a great match. And then we moved into, I believe, the main event of the show. Yes, we did. The men's Elimination Chamber match for a WWE Championship opportunity at WrestleMania against Cody Rhodes. They argued that this was the most stacked field in Elimination Chamber history. It's hard to argue, I guess. You've got 5 former world champions in there. There was Damian Priest, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and John Cena. So, all of the men qualified for this match except for John Cena, who just said he wanted to be in it and was allowed very much to just be in the match. They were all angry at that, and that's kind of the story for this match. So, the first 2 men in were Drew and Seth. They sort of rekindled their rivalry a little bit, throwing each other into the cage very quickly. Drew power slammed Seth on the outside and then gave him a suplex on the outside as well. The third man in the match was Damian Priest. He came in and did a rope walk Hurricane Rana to McIntyre, which was cool. And then he did a couple of other things. Then Logan Paul was in next. he did like a springboard crossbody to Damian Priest, and he did a moonsault, and he did a bunch of things. Um, he did a bunch of things, and then fifth in was John Cena. And Cena came in and he just hit a million moves. Shoulder blocks, proto bombs, AAs to Paul and Punk, and he hit a 5-knuckle shuffle on Logan Paul, but then he would eventually get taken down. And this is where elimination started happening. So, I'm trying to remember who got sent through the pod. Oh, I remember who got sent through the pod eventually. So Cena got Claymored by Drew, and Drew was going to cover Cena, but Damian Priest crucifixed him and pinned McIntyre. McIntyre was the first man eliminated from this match, and he was furious, so he Claymored Priest, and he left the chamber, and Logan Paul went to the top of a pod and hit a frog splash to Priest, eliminating him. 2 very quick eliminations there. Logan Paul, after doing some buckshot lariats to the men successfully earlier in the matchup, got too cocky though later on when he went for one to CM Punk, who came in the match next, and Punk and Paul exchanged strikes, obviously. But eventually, Logan would go for a buckshot lariat to Punk. Punk would like do the little neck breaker thing where he like goes round and he would slap him in the face, pick him up for the GTS, hit the GTS, and pin Logan Paul. So it was down to Seth, Punk, and Cena. And the tension in this was excellent because it was, you eliminated the people who were not going to win. So McIntyre wasn't going to face Cody, Priest wasn't going to face Cody, Paul wasn't going to face Cody, and then you had Seth and Punk and Cena, who realistically could have faced Cody. And these guys had a really good 3-way. There was a lot of finishes. So Punk, in this matchup, in total, got hit with a pedigree. He got hit with a buckle bomb and a curb stomp and an AA. And he was locked in the SDF at one point. He took a lot of stuff. So the 2 of them got rid of Seth Rollins with a heart attack because they were in Toronto, they were in Canada. And then they fought for a bit. Cena locked in an SDF. Punk countered that into an Anaconda Vice. Cena hit an AA, but Punk kicked out. Cena went for something off the top rope, but Rollins powerbombed him into the cage and then threw him through the pod. So this meant that Seth could finally get his hands on CM Punk. He was working over Punk. He hit the pedigree. He hit a curb stomp, and obviously Punk kicked out. Cena would eventually come back into the match. He would go for an AA on Seth. Seth would get off of Cena's shoulders. Punk would pick him up and GTS Seth. Cena would immediately pick him up and AA him. Punk would cover Seth. Seth was eliminated. So it was down to Cena and Punk. So, Cena and Punk had a little bit of an exchange. And then at the end, Cena grabbed Punk's leg because he was going to lock him back in the SDF, but Punk was crawling away through the ropes and he managed to kick Cena away. But as his face was against the metal grate, Seth curb stomped him into it. Cena immediately looked round, because it was a very, it was still a babyface thing for him to do. He looked around and he was like, this is my chance. He pulled him back in. He locked in the SDF very viciously with his arms kind of like that, almost like a choke. And Punk passed out. So Cena wins the Elimination Chamber. Cena is going to WrestleMania. A great Elimination Chamber match. I'm going to give this one 4.25 stars as well. So 3 4.25 star matches on the show. A lot of great matches on the show. Cena is going to WrestleMania. Punk and Seth obviously looks like the idea for them, and obviously Roman involved as well, and then Priest and Drew. I also think will be a very good match because they're just 2 hosses and can just hit each other. So all the angles from this match. I don't really see what Logan Paul's doing. It's obviously not CM Punk, so maybe he's not doing anything. Maybe he's just challenging for a mid-card title. Maybe those mid-card titles, man. We should do something with them. I'd quite like Braun Breaker and AJ Styles or Jacob Fatu, as I said before. So, after the matchup, Cody Rhodes' music hits, and he comes out, and Cena stays in the ring. and they look at each other, and obviously they hug because that is the main event of WrestleMania. Cody and Cena for the WWE Undisputed Championship, the Undisputed WWE Championship, or whatever it's called. And then The Rock's music hits because it's time for Cody to sell his soul. And Travis Scott comes down to the ring as well for some reason. You know, I get they want some mainstream attention, but I don't know why he was there. Let's have a quick drink. Lovely. So Travis Scott was there, and Rock comes down to the ring, and he says, "Cody, I want your body, I want your brain, I want your soul, I need your soul." And Cody says, "Rock, I don't have a soul. I gave it to these people and this ring long ago," and the crowd popped for that because they had their heroic babyface, who in this moment was obviously going to be against the authority of The Rock. And so he goes, "Rock, go fuck yourself." And the crowd went mental for that, and that has not been bleeped. I watched a rewatch of it today, basically, and it has not been bleeped yet, so I assume it'll stay. And then Cody goes across and hugs Cena again, and Cena looks across to The Rock while he's embracing Cody, and The Rock does this, and Cena's face turns angry, and Cena low blows Cody and turns heel. This will be a thing you never forget if you watched it. You will never forget the night that John Cena turned heel. He grabbed Cody's Rolex and started punching him with it. He grabbed the microphone and hit Cody with that. And then he picked up Cody's belt and gave him 2 belt shots. The Rock then took his weight belt off and started strapping Cody with it. And Travis Scott was there as well for some reason. And Cena held up the title. And Rock gave Cena the title before they left. And Cena just threw it on top of Cody. John Cena has sold his soul to The Rock and become essentially the new corporate champion. So, this angle was one of the best things probably I've seen in wrestling. I have not been so viscerally affected by an angle in wrestling for a very long time. Everything here, from Cody coming out to defying The Rock, telling him to go fuck himself, to Cena embracing Cody, to the throat thing, to Cena's low blow, to the Cody bled. Cody got busted open, I assume, from the Rolex shots. Everything here was perfect, and this was phenomenal. And 22 years ago, John Cena was a heel, and in 2025, on his farewell tour, they've decided to do this. And the thing, I'll just say quickly, the Cody Rock segment on SmackDown, I wasn't a big fan of because I didn't like the verbiage they used. It was just, the dialogue was a bit iffy. We got here, and suddenly I'm like, oh, WrestleMania! I need it in my veins now. Like, I want to know what John Cena's reasoning is. The press conference after it, he took the microphone out of the holder and just dropped it, and it was like incredible. This Cena heel turn, or this heel run, has the potential to be incredible, and I'm so excited for it. At the same time, as like I'm 26, right? So John Cena has been in my life as a babyface for 20 years. And it's like, what do I do? He's my hero. Like, I was gonna buy his merch. I was gonna buy his The Last Time Is Now top. I was gonna buy his pop vinyl. Like, and now I'm like, do I do it? Like, I'll probably still do it. But this made me recontextualize a lot of things in my wrestling fandom. And this was the best heel turn probably in my life as a wrestling fan. Like, I've seen a lot of great heel turns, none that are coming to mind quite to this level, because this was the Hogan Bash of the Beast 96 thing. You know, this was crazy shit. And yeah, that's how the show ended, with Rock, Cena, and Travis Scott at the top of the ramp. So, in reviewing Elimination Chamber 2025, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. This was a great show. 3 matches at 4.25 stars and a 2 3/4 star match. Sorry, a 2 3/4 star tag match that at least had Tiffany pin Nia. You know, that actually was a good thing. At least built Tiffany up the right way for Charlotte. And both chamber matches were great. Jade Cargill's return was brilliant. Randy Orton's return was brilliant. And Cena's heel turn will never be forgotten. We will never forget this in wrestling. And I thought it was absolutely bloody brilliant. As I said, 9 out of 10, a great pay-per-view. There's so much more I could talk about this. I was so tempted after the end of the show last night when I watched it to just do a video there and then, but I decided to watch the whole show today and give you a whole show review. Just talk about the show, I guess. Just more content for the channel. But anyway, guys, what did you think to John Cena's heel turn? What did you think to the chamber matches? What do you think to Rhea and Bianca, which is probably what it'll be? What do you think to Cody and what do you think to Cody and Cena? What do you think to the unsanctioned match? Do you think it was better than I did? You maybe could, you know, maybe I'm underrating it. Sometimes I'm known to do that. What do you think to the show overall? I guess thanks for watching, guys. This has been Rob Russell. What are we going to do about our Superman? What are we going to do? We've got Cody still, though. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Russell.